I wake up in the morning, I think of 3 things I'm grateful for just to set my mind up on a positive route. And then I ask myself, like, who am I? Like, when's the last time you was like, who am I?
It has been a long time.
And it's hard to like...
I mean, I guess it kind of comes in bits, but I mean, it's not like something I constantly think about,
right.
though, as much as I should.
Right, because it's like, whatever you answer that with, that's who you are or who you're gonna be working to become constantly. Right. So any small decision, like if you leave $1 on the couch, right? And if in my head I'm like,
I'm an honest person.
I'm an honest person. Like when I describe myself in my own, don't gotta be out loud or nothing. That's honestly how I think. It's gonna be, hey, here you go.
Right,
but if I'm like, boy, you know how I grew up. I'm a slime ball first. Then it's like, even if I don't want to do that and it's not my intention, I'm gonna do it before I think, because everything is habits. That's it. All we have, our life is nothing but stacked habits.
People probably on this podcast episode watching say, who am I? People probably went from being in the podcast hey, who am I?
Nah, it's real. Yes, sir. Back at it again. Back at it like a crack addict.
That's him.
I need all of that.
Right. The city of players.
Because people don't understand that it's really a mindset shift of knowing it's possible. And that's our main purpose for the podcast, is understanding that you do have outlets. If you want to travel, there are ways to afford to. Like if you got $200 pair of Jordans on, I guarantee you can get out the country. It might not be a 3-week trip, but you can get out the country and get back.
Like you always have this perspective of what you think is going to be like when you get there, and you get there and it's like completely different. The thing that you was looking forward to the most ended up being the most boring. And then you end up meeting somebody on the street, and the highlight of the trip is just following this nigga around his neighborhood. I know I need one.
We scored up 3 times.
We do.
Yeah, right.
Drunk Tourist Podcast in the building. Yes, sir. Back at it again. Drunk Tourist Podcast is in the building. It's your boy Yates from Atlanta, aka Wakanda.
And I'm Jerell Ramos from Portland, Oregon, aka the City of Roses.
And we back at it like a crack addict. Just trying to, see what we're gonna talk about today. What you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling some romantic experiences or connections potentially.
Ooh, you brought it up. Hit me with one. What you got on the top of your mind? You say romantic experience, man. Put me down.
Okay, I'll say I'm due to private information. I ain't gonna say where the location was.
Okay.
Just out of respect, of the person. But
you saying that like you got a lot of girls go watch this thing. Who was that?
Nah, it's not the fact that I have a lot of girls watching, but it's just I just feel like it just keeps people. This nigga right here. But okay. So one of my first trips, I was going. It was an international trip, and I kind of was going to bring it up not too long ago because you was talking about swiping and just using the geotags on Instagram and everything, and just finding people in the city and just stuff like that. So I ended up just doing that for the place I was going to, and just kind of fell into the wormhole of just meeting as far as just meeting hella people. So I ended up meeting like a friend of friends and stuff like that, and I ended up meeting a girl, and she was very attractive and very smart, and we ended up just talking through phone first, just through Instagram, and then we end up Skyping and everything. I feel like this is like the first person like I met like internationally on a level where it was like she was like, "Can I call you and stuff?" And I was
you was already planning to go out there. So
I was already planning to go out there.
Let me go ahead and kind of
try to tap in with somebody out there. Yeah, so I end up and this is like we just started Skyping and stuff, and and I was kind of nervous at first, and I never be nervous around women like that, but she was like from another place, and I was like, dang, this is crazy, like I'm about to be talking to somebody. This was like 2000 and like
I'm on that 90-day fiance.
Yeah, for real. So I was like, dang, like she from another place. I want to talk to her. I was kind of like, dang, like I ain't never talked to nobody like that, like from another country. But we ended up talking, and that was the first time I really like actually developed like a connection, a relationship with somebody that was foreign, and learn a little bit about a language that was different from my own, and then teaching somebody, really like breaking down the barrier to actually get to know somebody like on a real level, like so we end up just doing that, and I end up flying out there, and And it was crazy because I ended up meeting some dudes that was like through the same way, like online and stuff. And one of them ended up being like to this day, like somebody I'm hella cool with, like two of them. And, you know, he ended up knowing like hella people and knowing the city like crazy. He low-key got a little fame. Like, you know, I ended up meeting her, and then just all the stuff just linked up so perfect when I first went out there. Like, you know, it was really like a once in a lifetime type of experience just because how fine everything lined up, but just the people that I met. Like, you know, when I got there, like, it was like I was famous or something. I just had people like pulling so many strings from me, planning a hella things. And then, you know, so we end up getting to spend a lot of time with each other out there, and, you know, we you know, had some physical connections and
no, for sure.
Some physical connections.
Say a beautiful energy exchange.
So, yeah, there, that's what I was trying to think about what you said. Energy exchange, because I kind of give it away, man, saying physical exchange.
Yeah, you know? Man, it sounds better. Yeah, and it is. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, an energy exchange.
Yeah, because you get some and she gets some. It's not a leech situation where it's like, oh, I can't take this from you. It's like, no, I want to exchange energy.
Yep. So, you know, we end up having this energy exchange, and then we end up continually to talk after that.
No, for sure.
But like it ended up falling off because she started like talking about marriage like quick. Yeah. Like she actually ended up coming out here like to Atlanta. Like spend her own bread. Like,
how was that?
Like, I mean, it was cool. Like, it was, I mean, we did a lot of things out here, but I feel like everything was A1, but I feel like I kind of put myself in that position and her to make it feel like, you know, like it was going to take off faster than kind of what she was expecting. So now I kind of look at it like maybe I shouldn't have let her pull up, like, you know, because maybe she got the wrong idea thinking like,
I'm gonna pull up and stay.
Yeah. And then I feel like she knew she wasn't gonna stay, but she felt like it was like after this, like we talking about exactly. Like we figuring out what's the next step of us. And
let me ask you this: could you do long distance relationship? Like,
nah, I can't do long distance relationship.
Why not?
Because I just don't trust nobody that much. I feel like and. Like, I just know me personally, like, you know, sometimes the best part about the relationship is the ability to be able to be spontaneous, like with interacting. Like, you might have that day where you come home from work and you just like, damn, like, man, I'm like kind of in a little funk. And you might be texting your girl and she be like, dang, like, well, I'm gonna pull up and do something nice for you. And she can come like right on the spot. Like, it's gonna be harder to be pleased, like somebody like that far being like, you know, just, no, I'm gonna call you or something.
Pretend I'm rubbing your back right now.
Nah, like that physical touch and, you know, and all that stuff is gonna make a difference. So I like to be able to have that like accessible, you know, anytime. You know, and you know, I got motherfucking primitive needs.
Say, listen, baby.
Right,
hey, baby.
Right. Hey, I need to be
man was not made to be alone. Right. Listen.
Right. Like,
I'm playing that.
Like, you know, and some people like, oh, that's, you know, there's no self-restraint and all that, but it's like, man, fuck all that. Like, I need to be fucking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you my girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna want to be intimate with you. Sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then they're not gonna be here.
Love has many facets.
Facts.
And the physical is a part of it. So wherever you're lacking, that's where a lot of your focus is gonna go. So as a man, if you know yourself well enough to say this is something I need, it's not selfish to say this is something I need. But people will make you feel like you're selfish for saying that when really you're just already looking further down the line as this is gonna be a major issue. And I'm not comfortable going down this path with you and hurting you later on by pulling away from something I already know is gonna be a problem.
Nah, that's a fact. And I feel like that you know, just being real with yourself like that and being real with that person, like, it's gonna kill a lot of time, like, and a lot of stress out of people's relationships and friendships. Cause like, I feel like you meet people and you know that there's like something on the table that needs to be addressed, but you kind of like put on a back burner just because what's going on right now feels so good and it's flowing so good that you like, man, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm enjoying you. When you know, like you say, you know it's gonna be a problem later, but instead of addressing it, like,
that's the difference between like you were saying, when you're on that trip and when you get back home. Because when you're on that trip, you really could intend, like, you know what, this really can't work. Like, in the long term, we can figure this out. But then when you get back and you really recognize, like, oh man, I yearn for you, I miss you, but I can't be next to you. It's almost like, I don't know if I could deal with this. And then it's like, all right, well, how do I solve this problem? It's like, all right, I move there, you move here. But now we're putting ourselves in a position where it just went from us getting to know each other to something extremely serious. So it's like, we will be forced into that position. And then that's also uncomfortable because I may not know you well enough to be in that position where maybe you live together. Then it's like, or even if you don't live together, say I have two separate spots, they just left everything they know for you. So now any flaw you have, it's gonna be like, but I left my whole life for you. Like, figure it out. And it's like, that just makes it so much more serious than it otherwise would be. And it's not, it sounds messed up, but man, when it comes long distance, it's like,
nah. But I mean, I feel like a lot of people can relate to that though. Like, I feel like if you know, I feel like obviously it could work if both people's interest is like really on each other.
And you can be honest with all the communication to state what you need and how much, like you just said, if sex is something that you gotta have and you can't have that with them, if y'all can have a conversation where maybe other things can put in line, or if they could figure out how to get here more, or you could get there more where y'all can work it out, it can be addressed. But a lot of times, like you said, we ignore stuff like that until it's like, you done went 2 weeks without sex. You like, I can't live like this. It's like, oh, well, you ain't say that before. I thought you was cool. Like, I'm dying over here.
And you talk about long distance, it's gonna be like, I'm fucking 4 times a year. Hey, you gonna be a strong.
Hey, you gonna get pregnant the first time. I've been home this in for what, 2 months, man?
Right.
It's one of them straight to sleepers.
Right. Like, y'all gonna be so tired of fucking by the end of that trip, boy. Like, you don't have to, like,
and you know how trash you'll probably be. Picture not fucking for like 3 months and then finally get some pussy. Like,
right.
That first one gonna be like.
And I feel like, and at the same time, like, if you know that you single and you know that you're not really entertaining nobody right now, like, it, you know, it sucks, but it's not as bad because you know, like, that's like what your routine is for now, like, since you may not be active with somebody. So like your mindset is already like, yo, like, you know, I'm kind of like on some semen retention. Like, I ain't really been messing with nobody. I'm on my grind. So you ain't really thinking about it. And it's different when you know you have somebody.
Yeah.
You know, but they not here.
Because it's intent. It's like even when you say semen retention, it's all about intent. Like, why am I not having sex? If I'm not having sex for the intention of knowing myself on a deeper level or connecting with somebody else on a deeper level, that's completely different from I can't fuck. That's not semen retention. That's just like, you ain't getting no pussy. It's two different things. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, that's it, man. Once you start talking about long distance relationships, you get into that, like, what is love for real? Like, cause.
Well, what is love to you?
Man, love is sacrifice.
I can see that. Compromisation, is that a word?
Compromising.
Well, I mean, yeah, compromising. But
I don't know. It might be. You have to Google it. I don't think so, though.
It's got to be something on that form, though.
For sure. But it's like.
Hopefully.
Nah, but it's like, when you start talking about love, it's all about, like, everybody look at love like, what do I get from it?
Right, that's true.
But to me, love is like, what can I give? So it's like, my view of love is different. Like, and then also when you start talking about trust and stuff, that's different to me too. So it's like, when people be saying like, oh, I'll do anything for love, it's like, what, are you talking about love, or are you talking about like a connection? Right. Or are you talking about like, you'll do anything for the perfect relationship? Are you saying you'll do anything for the perfect partner? Like,
right.
But people just say love because it's like the easy go-to word. But it's like, a lot of times people don't be loving each other for real. They be liking each other.
Nah, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? It be like
tolerating each other.
Because like, if as soon as they do something you don't like, you stop fucking with them, that's not love for real.
Nah, that's true.
You feel me?
And it's also not love if you try to change the person from being who they are. Because if you love them the way they was, then you would just, them being them would be enough.
Facts. Because it's like, we love conditionally, right? Which you should, to a degree. You should never just give somebody full control where like, you no longer care about how you feel. So you should love conditionally to a degree. But when we think of love, we always think like unconditional love. Like for example, like I love my niece unconditionally. Like it's nothing she could do where I'll stop loving her. Like she could accidentally shoot me. Right. And I'm just like, you crazy. You know what I mean? But that's because I have unconditional love for her. But when we talk to people, we'll see it as the same until something happens. Like my niece could throw my favorite pair of shoes away. And you know, I'd be upset. Right. But I'm not gonna. You're not
gonna love her any less.
Exactly. But you know, you have a girl you talking to, and she could just hug a nigga the wrong way, and you like, I can't even trust her for real. I can't, because the love different, and it's like a lot of times we really don't love this person. We just like them a lot, and we want to possess them. And since we want to possess them, we put this word love over it. Like, because I love you, you need to live by these rules that I'm gonna set.
I'm glad that you said possession, because I like to always use that word when it comes to people talking about love, because when most people describe to me like love in their mind, like that's the only word I really see like out of that possession. Like wanting something to call yours. For sure. Like wanting yours, like wanting your man to do this, wanting your woman to be this, wanting this for you. Like everything is about like, you know, about possessing them. And it's like they say about the flower, like, you know, it's about appreciating it, not, you know, it's not about having it.
Because once you pick it dies.
Right, exactly. It's about
appreciating it. But it's funny because at the same time, I'm very possessive. Like, not OD, but like, I have the same type of thinking. So when I say like, oh, this is how people think, I'm not saying like I'm any better.
Yeah, because I'm definitely on that.
I mean, like,
I'm definitely on that.
Also, you're my girl.
Right.
So you need to do woo-woo. And I expect the same, you know, and I'm gonna fall in line, you know, if we're in a relationship. But it's just like a lot of people, they'll rationalize anything because of love.
Right.
And like if it doesn't make sense logically, I ain't really rocking with it too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like it gotta make sense all the way around. Like emotionally, logically, physically, spiritually, like it gotta feel good. It gotta feel right. Like, I mean, you talk about energy, like, this is really how I look at, like, relationships. You should help me grow, and I should help you grow. If not, then we need to just figure out how we can help each other grow.
Right.
Like, or keep it there. Like, if we good friends, but once we get into a relationship, now we both get too possessive, and, like, now you're no longer growing in like, your own life, and I'm not growing, that's not a relationship. Because the point of a relationship is growth. Even if like I get stagnant, I need to be pushing my partner.
Right,
you know?
right. It's like look at like a vine, you know what I'm saying? Y'all both like continuously to climb on each other and like grow upward with each other. Like, you know, because one might get ahead and then the other one can hang on to that, like in the sense of bringing them up, because you're growing, so you're getting to the level where you're able to get,
it'll motivate you.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And that and if it don't motivate you, then you definitely need to start looking at yourself, like to see what type of insecurities you have. If you feel
then it's
like,
not really love.
Nah, it's not.
If it don't motivate you, that means now you.
And you can't love nobody if you don't love yourself.
Nah, for sure. Nah, that's a fact. And a lot of people, man, a lot of times, people will love you because you love yourself so much.
Right.
Like, I love myself OD.
Right.
And a lot of times people will feel that energy when y'all start to be together, and you'll be uplifting them so much that they'll start looking to you to uplift them. Like, I don't have to do anything, because when I'm with you, you pushing me to grind harder, invest in myself. You letting me know I'm beautiful. You making me feel better about myself to a degree where I no longer have to put anything in. But the thing is, you can't do that forever. Because soon as I gotta handle some stuff and I can't get that to you, now it's like, oh, you don't love me no more. It's like, no, my attention is just on other matters, but that doesn't mean I love you less. It's just, I can't give you all of me because I need some of me too.
Right,
and a lot of people, they don't have that to give themselves, so they start being on some, you don't love me no more.
Seek it from, and that's what, I forgot where I read this or heard this, but that's why I was, informed about, like, as far as relationship, you want to try to find somebody like you said, because since, like the example you just said, since you said that you love yourself so much, a girl being around you, she's gonna feel good about things you're doing around, because you're treating yourself well. So you always doing things that make you happy, in a sense was probably making her happy too, because you know how to make yourself
And I'm gonna make sure you doing stuff for yourself too. Like I'm not just gonna be sitting here like feeding myself. It's gonna be like, for example, say if I like shopping or something, and I'm buying me some stuff, I'm gonna buy you some stuff too. But then say your thing is like running, but you don't run a lot. But I know you love running. I'm gonna be the person to encourage you every day. Hey, did you get a chance to run today?
Right.
No, I didn't have time. You want me to run with you? You want me to wake you up earlier tomorrow? You want me to find you an excuse for work so you can run? You want me to go get you some new outfits to run in? Like, it's like, I'm gonna support you into whatever you really want to do so much that if you don't do what you want, what you need to do to be happy, you're gonna know it's all you.
Right.
And a lot of people, once they in that place of like really being supported, because a lot of people get supported for other people. So it's like, I'll do that when your friends around, or I'll do that when your parents around, but will I do that in private when nobody know but you and me?
Right.
Like, do I really, like, will I lose something for you to be happy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, will I lose sleep to help you on something? Will I lose money to support you on something? Like, a lot of people, they'll do it for Instagram or for their friends to know, but in their private life, it's like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to bed.
Nah, facts. And that's kind of what I was kind of like getting, because they not, well, now, since you do that, let's say this other person is not used to taking care of themselves like that. Now they come to you and now they get that from you. So now like, man, let me rewind that back and try to re-explain the thought. If I love to, you know, let's say I like to sew and design clothes. So I do that already because I'm in it.
He's fire too if y'all need some clothes.
Varied Fashion on Instagram. But you know, I like to do that, so I'm gonna do that for myself. And now if there's a female that I meet and she's like, oh, I'm into that too, but in her life she doesn't do that for herself, you know, until she met me. And now that she met me and we together, now she's doing that more, you know, and you know, I might be eating a certain way that she may not eat. And so when that person's gone, like that person doesn't continue to do that. So it's like a lot of people get in relationships and they're not, and they kind of change or they only do things because they're with somebody, and you only really doing it because you with that person.
You're trying to appease that person,
right? Rather than me finding somebody who does that for themselves already. And now when we do it, we both like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway because this is something I've already been doing. Right.
This is actually me.
Right.
A lot of people, I kind of fucked up
explaining, but.
No, that's a perfect explanation. A lot of people, they seek relationships, and they specifically seek people who are essentially who they want to be. So like, not saying they gotta have a certain amount of money or whatever, but like on an emotional level, like you could just be emotionally. I could be somebody who like had a traumatic past or whatever, but I don't have, let's say, confidence, because that's the easiest one a lot of people can relate to. I don't have a lot of confidence. She could be, let's say I'm a female, I'm extremely beautiful, but I don't have a lot of confidence. Even though a lot of people don't understand why, it's just something internal. You're gonna seek out people with confidence, right? And usually it'll run off, where it's like, you're gonna tell them so much that they look good, they're gonna start believing it as long as you're saying it. But as soon as you stop, it's like, I never had it in me to believe. So just because I believe when you were saying, I can't say it to myself unless you kind of like push them to
where they open up for themselves,
change the paradigm.
But it's really going to come back to them, doing it for themselves.
Everything in this life comes back to you because we create our own reality. I can never. It don't matter if you wrote down everything that ever happened in your life. If I saw a movie or nothing, I'll never be able to actually understand all of the perspective, because it's through your eyes, right? And I can never hear your internal dialogue, like when you thinking, the conversations you having with yourself, like, man, I should have put a different shirt on, man. You know, like whether it's positive, negative, whatever, I'd never be able to get all that. I can just get what you tell me. So it's like, however you set yourself up, that's how your life gonna be. However I set myself up, that's how my life gonna be.
Facts.
That's just how it is. But we like to feel like you have to think how I think. Like, it's no real difference. If you understand me, then you should know how I feel about something. That's another issue when we start feeling like you should be able to read my mind. Like, if, say your girl, like, got a little attitude, she over here pouting. You could know she pouting, and you could be like, something's wrong. But in her mind, it's like, you know exactly what's wrong. So when you like, what's wrong or whatever, and she like, nothing,
because she wants you to keep digging. After a while, she like, you know exactly what's wrong. And she can get upset that you asking questions, really trying to learn, when all reality, you just not a mind reader.
Right.
But we always feel like, especially when it comes to love, like, especially when it comes to like knowing somebody, you feel like they should know everything. Like, they should know how I think. But
that's facts.
You can have a great, you can know 80% of it. Like, I get everything about your past. I get everything about where you are now. I get how you think 80% of it. But that other 20% always gonna be a mystery because it's ever changing. Because you control your thoughts. You can get depressed right now and be depressed all next week, and I don't know that person no more. Cause I never met depressed Jerell.
Right.
You feel me? That's and I can only treat you based on the Jerell that I know. So when I'm like, hey man, what's up, man? He like, man, I ain't really feeling it today, man. I'm like, man, don't be a bitch, man. Get up.
Right. And then I just you don't take it. Right.
You don't take it well because I'm talking like the Jerell I know.
Right.
But now you're not in that place no more, and you sitting there like he should know that I ain't really right.
But it's like, should he know that?
Exactly.
I'm like, man, you know how I get when I'm like, no, I don't know how you get.
Exactly. And we create our own realities, and then we all have these run-off stories where after something happened, you just start, hey man, yeah, he should have known, and he does know. He chooses like this, and you start creating these stories, and that's what I mean.
Like
I say
random narratives in your mind, making you even more into that feeling of whatever
rabbit hole, man. Yeah. You just start spiraling, man, and go bad. But that's why it's so crazy. Like, you really gotta be secure in yourself to be able to self-analyze when stuff like that happen or whatever. Like, to ask yourself, like, something I try to do every day. I wake up in the morning, I think of 3 things I'm grateful for just to set my mind up on a positive route. And then I ask myself, like, who am I? Like, when's the last time you was like, who am I?
It has been a long time.
And it's hard to, like...
I mean, I guess it kind of comes in bits, but I mean, it's not like something I constantly think about,
right?
Though, as much as I should.
Right, because it's like, whatever you answer that with, that's who you are or who you're gonna be working to become constantly. Right. So any small decision, like if you leave $1 on the couch, right? And if in my head I'm like,
I'm an honest person.
I'm an honest person. Like when I describe myself in my own, don't gotta be out loud or nothing. That's honestly how I think. It's gonna be, hey, here you go.
Right,
but if I'm like, boy, you know how I grew up. I'm a slime ball first. Then it's like, even if I don't want to do that and it's not my intention, I'm gonna do it before I think, because everything is habits. That's it. All we have, our life is nothing but stacked habits.
People probably on this podcast episode watching say, who am I? People probably went from being in the podcast hey, who am I?
Nah, it's real.
Nah, hell yeah.
You gotta,
and that makes sense like you said, because once you identify like that figure of who you feel like you are or what you strive to be, you know, like you said, every little decision is gonna come back to check off that list. Like if this is
go back to
an attribute of that person that you're trying to be.
You remember what we was on Clubhouse? We was talking about this. So we were talking. We had a discussion with. We had like what 200 people in there, and we was just talking about. We was talking to we have a lot of female followers, so we were talking to the women in our.
Shout out to the beautiful ladies.
Shout out to the beautiful women who follow us on Clubhouse. Drunk Tours podcast, you know, find the room. But we was in there talking about. This is funny. Would you leave your dude if he got beat up in front of you? Right?
Not just beat up, knock the fuck out.
He got knocked out, right? So a lot of women were like, yeah, I leave him. He was sucker, woo woo. And we was like, I mean, I get it. But we was even talking about like, why? Like, what type of thinking process do you have that make... Because if you telling yourself constantly without thinking like, oh, I am a woman who needs a man who can protect me, which is fair. Not knocking that at all. It makes more sense why they'll leave. If you a person who constantly saying like, I'll be with my man no matter what, it make more sense why you might stay. You know, but whatever the answer is, it's constantly changing depending on how you look at yourself.
Right. And
but we never
what
check
you deserve
that.
Or what you feel like you require, because you know as you change, the things that you may require from a partner may change, because you might have filled that void in yourself.
For sure.
To where you feel like you don't need that no more.
For sure.
Like I don't know, like we were talking about the example, like the test, when we was talking about when King was over here, we was talking about, you know, giving yourself a test, and you know, and it's like, okay, what do you really require from your spouse? Like what's the ultimate thing you require from your spouse? Like I feel like you kind of have that thing, like whatever that core kind of thing is, like in the beginning, And then, you know, maybe depending on how you are as a person, that may mold and shift and change what you require out of them, because you are also changing. So what you feel like you need, the way you need to be loved may change, you know, in your partner, and, you know, and vice versa. You know, like in the beginning, a woman might feel like she need a man who's, you know, who's big on words of affirmation, just because at that point of her life, her confidence may not be as high. She might be, and then like as y'all get older, you know, and grow, you know, she may become more secure with herself, to where, you know, even if y'all not even together, even if there was if she was just single and broke up and she changed and now she's more secure, now when she meets a man, she may not need a man or feel like she needs that part of a man to be so high, because now she's like, I'm confident in myself. Now I require my man to more so give me this now more so is where I feel like I need, you know. And
but speaking purely on like the law of attraction and stuff, a lot of people, they look at it like, oh, okay, I just think a good thought and I get a good thought back, when really it's a lot deeper than that. And I never try to like sell anybody on it, but it's really more so like, let's say school, for example, and in your mind it's like, oh, I'm gonna fail this class, I'm gonna fail this class. And a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, you're attracting failure, so that's why you failed. But it's like, yes and no. It's like, yes, you are attracting failure, but it's more so in like your reality, as far as like, if your mindset is, I'm gonna get an A in this class, you come in looking like, all right, who in this class can I make a study partner?
Now, what kind of schedule can I build to really create?
You miss opportunities when your mind is like on failure, and that's what makes you attract that failure. Not just like, oh, I think failure, so I attract failure. It's like, no, you attract, like, you can't even see opportunities because you're so focused on things not going well. That makes sense?
No, that definitely makes sense, because like you said, like I feel like people look at, like you said, like The Secret and stuff, and people see it as like magic, like or something.
Gimmicky.
Right, because they expecting like, I want $1 million, and then like here they come, and it's just like, you can say you want $1 million, but you have to still put into the manifestation of that $1 million. Like put your mind into the $1 million. Like, what are you doing like with this $1 million? Like, how did you
deserve the $1 million?
Like how did you accumulate this $1 million? Like, what is your daily lifestyle like? Like, while you making these millions, what is it that you're doing? And it rewind that like a couple of steps back every time to really bring it into to now, to see what are you doing now to take you to the step of that direction. And then with putting in the work, obviously you bring that manifestation forth, right? You know, and then obviously, you know, there is some magic in between those lines, because you end up meeting people and going places and doing things that you didn't even know that would work out like that. Because
you're looking for those opportunities, like,
right?
Man, it's just so many. All right, let's say like we making a podcast, right? Like we got lights, we in my house, we got a set. Like it looks like a podcast. But how many people say like, oh, I want a podcast? And you know, they'll just say some stuff real quick and be like, all right, cool. Like we edit, you know, like we have a set, you know, we have a plan. We at least have some idea. Yeah, it's mostly free thought, but like we have an idea where we want to go with it. We still have to check like, how's the footage? Is it quality? You know what I mean? If something's not quality, we're not just gonna put it out anyway. You know what I mean? Like care enough to whatever we want from this, we're gonna work towards it. Like you can see it in the work. Like nobody who we've interviewed or anything is gonna be surprised when it's successful, because you see the work behind it. But a lot of people, they want stuff with no work. Like they want that lottery ticket. Even a lottery, you have to go get the ticket.
Right.
You gotta pay for it.
That's how you can't win if you don't play, for real. Like, and that's the same way of whatever it is you do. You ain't gonna make it if you don't try. You know, you see the book right here. Y'all can't see it, but it's Think and Grow Rich.
That's my favorite, man. That's my favorite book of all time. That's definitely one of my
favorites. And you know, you really gotta think and grow rich is how I look at it. Nah, for real. Like not even think and grow, but like really thinking like the order of it. Like thinking of what you gotta do.
Like the growth is the work.
Yeah, for sure. Like
people like to just think and rich. They skip the growth part.
Right. Like you really gotta make mistakes. You really gotta try things. And you really gotta learn things and fall to get back up this vine to you know, to the fruits.
Because people don't see all the like you just flew in from where?
Portland. Shout out to the city.
Shout out to Portland. You just flew in from Portland to do this podcast.
Right.
Obviously, you got to handle something else, but you flew in specifically to shoot for this podcast. So other people will be like, knowing that I wanted to shoot. So we set a time, and you flew all the way over here just to shoot.
Right.
Like, that's work. But people will be like, oh, how do y'all flow in the conversation so well? How do y'all know each other? It's like, I have to respect you when you make a sacrifice like that, and I have to respect your time. So I can't be busy. You know what I mean? I can't be lackluster with my conversation, just throwing out some BS where it's like you sitting there like, well, this is stupid, but let's knock it out. Like, no, I want to give you quality because you made a sacrifice. So when we both make a sacrifice, people can feel it. And when we speak on things like this, like I get passionate because it's like I have way more than I ever thought I would have. Like for sure. Like growing up, never thought I would have things I have now. But it's like once you understand there really are no limits, and you really can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to work for it. Like people hate the idea of it because it's just like I'm a big believer in taking all the blame, like full extreme ownership. Like whatever it is my fault. Right.
But I mean that's how you become great because it always comes back to like what can I do more? Yeah. You know, and what can I bring more? Yeah. You know, because
it's not a self-hate thing. Let me correct that because sometimes people be like, whenever I tell people that, they're like, oh,
like you're beating yourself up.
Yeah, why would you? No, like, all right, let's say if I have somebody editing a video, right, and I need it by Friday, and I'm like, hey, I need this by Friday, and I don't get it by Friday, I would take ownership and that's my fault. I should have every day been calling for a status update. I should have had a backup plan if you didn't have it done by Thursday. I should have, like, that's what I mean by extreme ownership. Like, I take on that fault. It doesn't mean I ignore if somebody else don't do their job. It just means I don't look for a blame game. Like, I hate excuses. I hate when somebody's like, oh man, you know, it could have happened, but you know, this happened, so it didn't happen. It's like, all right, well, what's the solution? Like, even if it didn't happen, what's next? And they'd be like, well, I don't know, that happened. It's like,
so it's like you done from it just off of that one thing.
Exactly. When you run into a wall, do you pivot or do you just stop at the wall and just stare at it forever? Right. You know what I mean?
Nah. There's definitely a thin line between like recognizing a problem and thinking of a solution to get away or go around the problem than just saying
using the problem as an excuse
as a stopping point. Exactly. Yeah, nah, for sure. Nah, because yeah, and it's hard, you know. We're not gonna talk about it like it's not something that's learned and like earned, because I know me definitely, like, you know, there's still to this day there's certain things where I'm kind of like, and then they gotta really look like why am I feel like I'm stopping? Like why do I feel like I can't do this? Like what's really holding me back? Like, is it just me being scared, or is it, which is majority of the time, right? You know, or is it actually a problem that I really like? That's, you know, okay, maybe this is a little bit bigger than I scale to be. Let me start smaller, like redirect. You know, that's obviously possible, but you know, when you're really thinking like some simple ass thing, like you be like, man, I want to start a clothing line. You be like, oh, why don't you get started? Like, oh man, LLC is $300, and it's like,
nah, it's $100.
It's like, and then they're like, oh well, and it's like, did you even look it up? And like, well, I didn't look. I was just, and the majority of the time, like, that's what it is. Like,
it's lack of knowledge. 99%. Like, I
lack of one to look. Like, a lot of people don't even want to start.
Man, I've had people tell me something that I know how to do, like, for example, LLC. I've had people be like, oh yeah, I want to start a business, but you know, can't get an LLC, I only got $1,000. I'd be like, how much it cost? Like $1,000. I'm like, well, what if you did it yourself? Then it's $2,000. I'm like, where did you get this information? They're like, yeah, you know, the internet. I'm like, where on the internet? And they're like, on there. I was like where? Like, show me where you got it. Like, Google it. They're like, well, I never really Googled it, but somebody told me, like, well, why don't you Google it? And they're like, Google it. They're like, all right, if I pay somebody, it'd be $500. I'm like, all right. That's a lot less than $1,000. What if you did it yourself? Like, apparently it's free. It'd be $100. I'm like, and this has happened in the strip club where somebody's thrown $900. I'm like, either one you wanted to do, you could have just did. Either one. Like, what are you talking about?
But you didn't begin the research. There's a radio station. My friend June Rose, shout out to her. Like, I forgot what radio station she told me. It was like, things like, I don't think it was, I forgot what his name, but it was a black dude, and he's like big on, like, you know, like uplifting and just, you know, freeing your mind and really trying to push it to work. And that was one of the things he asked. One of the guys on the show was like, yeah, like, you know, he said something like he works at a tower or something like that. He sets up towers and stuff. And then the dude, and the host was like, you know, like, man, why don't you ever thought about, you know, just connecting your own phone line, your own phone service, and just renting out or buying the tower and just getting started since you know so much about it and stuff? And the guy was like, yeah, he's like, that sounds cool. He's like, but it's just too expensive. And the guy was like, oh, okay, how much is it? And he was like, man, it's like, I don't know, I can't afford it. And then he was all like, and the dude went, and then the host went and looked up. He was like, man, this is $15,000. I just looked one up. He was like, did you even look it up to even see how much it cost? And he was like, well, no, I didn't. He's like, so how are you telling yourself you can't do something and you haven't even started to even look?
Man, I'm
like,
telling you.
And then you really start putting that in perspective and start seeing all the time. You're like, wow, like, because it's easier to not try.
Fact.
You know, so it's
comfortable.
That's more so the right word.
And our brains are set up to chase comfort. So like that's why when you know you should be working out, it's like, well, I'm gonna stay in bed. It don't matter if you want to. It's like your brain will give you all this reasoning why this is better because it's trained for comfort. And what's crazy is our minds want to get better. We naturally want to grow, but we naturally want to grow comfortably. So not real growth, like slight itty bitty. When you can make massive growth if you really want to. But you have to decide, like, I understand that this is going to be stepping outside of my comfort zone. And anytime, like, even working out, like, I work out a lot. I understand that for me to get stronger, I'm going to have to put myself in a position where I'm weak.
Right.
Like, if I want to do more pull-ups, let's say if I could do 6 pull-ups and I want to get to 10. I'm going to have to understand that I'm going to have to fight on that 7 pull-up every day until I can do 7. And then keep doing it until I can do 8. And then and then what's crazy is a lot of times, once you pass barriers, it's like you can do 10, now you can do 15. You do 15, now you can do 20. Because it's like, once your mind understands, like, you're not going to stop, it's just be like, all right, I'm going to adapt then. Because our bodies are built to, like,
we're infinite.
So much.
We're infinite creatures, you know what I'm saying? Like, we infinite. That's why I feel like,
but we convince ourselves we're not.
Right, not for sure.
And it's so easy.
And the world tells us that we're not.
Because if I see you really say, like, if you tell me right now, like, man, I'm gonna be a millionaire by the end of the year. And let's say because we all want the same type of stuff. So say I want to be a millionaire. It's natural for the next person to be like, you can't do that, bro. What about this? What about this? What about this? And then it's like right back to your regular thinking. Yeah, you're right, I can't. But in that millisecond when you was like, I'm gonna get $1 million. If you could sit in there and be like, all right, what would it take? Like, well, if you break $1 million down, that's what, about $2,300 a day or $2,400 something.
It was like $220 a day.
Man, let's do the actual math because I just did.
I forgot what it was. I had like the little things like certain amount of subscriptions.
We're gonna do $100,000 because that's an easier one. I literally just went through this with somebody, I think yesterday.
Like 5,000 something a month.
So $100,000 divided by 12 is only $8,333 a month. So that's 30 days. So we're gonna divide it by 30 days.
Y'all see how
some months with 30. So that's $277 a day.
Right.
So if you had one business, that business needs to make $277
$270 a day. That's what it was.
$277. So let's say you have 5 businesses. So we're gonna divide that $277 by 5. Each business only needs to make you $55 in profit. So let's say you start a clothing line, right? And
one hoodie.
You sell shirts for $25.
Right.
You need to sell 2 shirts and start 10 more clothing lines. They could all be different niches. Like it could be travel, business,
sportswear or something.
Melanated people, hair product, whatever. You get 10 of them and you can sell 2 shirts a day and have $100,000 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Only 2. Now picture if you selling 10. You sell 10, if you sold 20, you be done 10x your growth, and that's $1 million.
Right.
If you had 10 of your clothing lines, you sold 20 shirts a day. Or whatever. It could be ebooks, it could be podcasts, it could be, for example, we have a podcast. We have the podcast on all platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, all the different platforms. And we kind of accumulate the streams. And if it is monetized, then they kind of come together. But then we also have YouTube. And we're going to have Facebook. And we're going to be able to have background footage of how do we set up our set. Now you can package that, sell that separately. Like it's so much you can do with the same content. But if your mindset is set up for something outrageous, now you're looking at all this.
Right.
If your goal is like, man, I want to make an extra $100 a month,
You only thinking one thing. It's like, yeah, if I could just get 1,000 people to listen to me, it's up. And it's like, hold up, if you want to 10x that, how can you do 10 times that? Like, how can you make it possible? And it's a simple little mindset shit.
Right.
Man, something crazy somebody said to me that messed me up one time. They were like, since you said the radio, it made me think about it. A radio, right? If I put up an antenna, I bring a radio in here, I cut it on. Did I bring the radio waves in here, or did I just tune into the frequency?
Tune into the frequency?
It was already in here. All the radio, we have no radio on in here.
That's true.
All the waves are in here. If I cut it on and tune into that frequency of whatever station, the radio come on, you hear the music.
Right, that's true.
We could have whatever we want, but we have to tune into that frequency. Right. You have to change your mindset to what is the difference between you and Jeff Bezos? You think differently.
Right,
He's looking for different opportunities. You go to a restaurant, you're like, man, this food good. He's like, how many servers in here? How do they pay all the servers? What type of POS system do they have? How long does it take to get a drink? How many shots are in this drink? Man, if I had 3 of these and I could figure out how to cut down on the alcohol consumption, bring more people in here, separate them more, have less waitresses, that's more money. Like, it's a completely different mindset, same situation.
Right.
But we train ourselves to think like, I could never be in that position. Right, and guess what happened?
You're never gonna be in that position.
Because just like we were saying, attract, or it's just opportunity. We can't see the opportunity because we're having that self-dialogue of I can't have that.
And you never, and then on top of that, obviously the you know, that's kind of more so I feel like the cerebral part of it, like the mindset of it, then also the physical side of it, like since you don't have that step, you're not actually looking for the know-how to actually even do that work in the beginning. Because like you said, like they go in there and they don't think about you know, like how the restaurant is operating. So therefore they don't look to see how a restaurant operates. So now you're not even gonna get, like you said, you're not gonna get the opportunity, you're not even gonna do the research because your mindset is not even being inquisitive enough for you to even research about it, to even get on ball to even do it. So it's just like, it just shuts it down. So the work doesn't come after that.
And we don't even try to get around people who know more than us. Like, it's easier to, like, for example, let's say if I know nothing about stocks and you know nothing about stocks. It's a lot easier for me to talk to you about getting into stocks than to go find somebody who made 100,000 in stocks last year and be like, I know nothing. How can I figure out how I can add value in their life where I can bring that to them and say, hey, I can do this for you. Let's say if I print shirts. Right. Like, hey man, you really doing your thing on the stocks. I see you showing it online. Hey, you should have a brand or something. And I'm not even here trying to be your brand person, but how about, you know, I'll get you a lot of mock-ups. I could give you the game of like how to get the cheaper prices, or even train somebody else to do it for you. And while I'm doing that, you teach me this. People not turning down stuff like that because you bringing something. But what do? We be like, that man ain't gonna talk to me. Because you looking at it like, I'm just asking them for something. What can you bring? And we can all bring something. Like, for instance, one of my trainers, right? Like, one of my trainers don't never charge me. The first time I met him, I was working out at the Y at the time, and I started coming at 5:30 because I was reading all these books saying, you know, the real dogs get up early. They change the mindset. So I was like, man, I'm gonna just start going to the gym early. I was already going to the gym. I'm gonna start going early. So when I got in there, it was a bunch of trainers training together. So I'm getting there, you know, I'm on the bench or whatever. They doing like 6. Like, and I'm just looking like, man, that's what I need to do. So after a couple days, I just start being like, I'm gonna just watch what they do. I'm gonna just do it after. Like, if they on the bench, all them finished, I'm gonna sit there for 20 minutes watching. When they done, I'm gonna do the same thing. I did that for like a week. After like a week, they were like, bro, you can just hop in with us if you want. Cause they realize like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, I'm not asking your permission. Right. I'm not asking you to help me. I'm not like, hey, can I ask you a question? Like, trying to get no free training. I'm just like, look, success leaves clues. Right. It always leaves clues. So you could just follow the clues. You could be that dude. Like, it's a lot of people.
And you still gonna get, and you gonna learn a lot and get right from that still. Like, you know, obviously, you know, the level is gonna be a difference, but at the same time, like, you gonna be getting you gonna be getting some shit.
And then after working out with them for a long period of time and developing a friendship, and it, you know, and like now, you know, we friends outside of the gym. You know what I mean? To where I come to for real advice, like married man, like, hey, I'm thinking about marriage. What do you think about? And then it's not like once I got what I wanted, I stopped adding value. Like, one, when I come, I'm not gonna complain. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you say some crazy, hey, we about to do 200 pull-ups today. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't think it's possible. But I'm not gonna say it's not possible because I begged for this position to train with you. So I'm just gonna do what I can do. I'm gonna get up to that number. I might have to set mine out 10 times at a time or 5 at a time, whatever to get there. Right. But I'm gonna get there, and then once I get there,
I might just do as many as I can do, and then that's it. Because that was the whole purpose in it. I mean, it just depends. Like,
that's what I got from him.
Idea,
that's what I got from him was you can always get there.
Right, that's true. It might take you a little while, but you can do it for sure.
You can take a break. You can like I would.
I mean, if that's the goal, then you could definitely get there.
I've had times where like they finished training and they went home, and I sat there for like 2-3 more hours, like spacing stuff out, depending on the workout, whatever. Like, because I'm not doing it for them, I'm doing it for me. I'm trying to shift my own mindset.
Say you're not cheating.
Because
yourself.
when you ask yourself, who are you? Like when I was like, you need to ask. Everybody should ask themselves, like, who am I? Like that'll come into my mind. It's like,
I'm not a quitter. That's what I know. What I'm not.
I achieve whatever I really chase. Like if I really want something, I'm gonna get it done.
Right.
And like once you have that mindset, it rolls over into every area, and it's just like your life gets better.
Right.
It gets better because you stop questioning yourself, and whatever you want, you know you can have it based on proof.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's why I feel like in my life, for the most part, you know, pretty much everything I really wanted, like, you know, I was able to create for myself by just putting my mind to it, and obviously, like, you know, putting the work at hand. So there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, whatever I do, I know I could do. It's just more so at the same time, the hard part was, you know, staying on track of keeping that mind, which is, you know, obviously the what comes with the growth and you know, the
motivation is fickle.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, you can say like, yo, I know I can get there. It's along the journey. You're gonna have to constantly remind yourself that.
And that's like, the part that sucks.
You know, you're right, and that's where the grind comes in. Because it's like because obviously you're gonna hit them points where you're gonna have that struggle where it's hard to get that 200, and one part of your mind is telling you like I can't do it again.
99% of your mind saying you can't do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Then you gotta be like, then you say you gotta go back and tap into yourself, like, who am I? What was the overall purpose I'm trying to get to? And then, you know, give that, you know, recircuit yourself, you know what I'm saying, recharge yourself again to be like, I got this, like, well, this is the mission, I can do this. And then hitting that milestone and giving yourself that extra boost of confidence for the next run, like next, you know,
whatever your goal is, the next goal. Like one thing I tell people, like something I've been doing, I used to do it like every couple months. I'll take 30 days, I'll take cold showers. Like wake up, take a cold shower. It's horrible. It doesn't have a lot of positive effects. Like it does technically, like skin and hair and stuff like that, but not positive effects that I care about. Like where it's like, oh my God, I'm doing this for this. It's like I'm doing it because it sucks.
Right.
And if I could do that for 30 days, like a fast, like I like to discipline myself in different areas. If I could do that for 30 days, like something that sucks. The next time you deal with something that sucks, like when you procrastinate, it's so easy
I take cold shower there, man. It
ain't nothing. It's like, man, I don't want to edit this footage, bro. I just don't feel like doing it. I'm tired. I'm hungry, whatever. But it's like, nigga, I just took a cold shower at 6 in the morning when I was in a nice warm bed with a thick woman sitting beside me, nice and warm, cuddled up next to me. I drug myself up into the cold morning air, walked across the cold bathroom towel, and hopped in a cold shower just to remind myself that I'm different. So then when it's time to edit, you be like, bro, I'm different, bro. Like everybody else, they ain't gonna do this, but this is why I'm gonna get what I want. Facts. You know what I'm saying?
Cause it's like you putting your body in like that shock and that, like you said, that unwanted, that uncomfortable position where you have to react and you have to respond to that greatness. You like, you know, like you said, so now it's like, I gotta do this, but I'm on it. Rather than having that, man, like how you talking about flying out here, like on everything. It was like 8 p.m. And I was at my mom's house and I'm just chilling and I'm just so tired. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm over here like fucking about to pass out, like, and I know I gotta get up and get ready to go to the airport, and I'm just like, bro, I do not want to go. I'm just so tired, but I'm just like, you know, but when you really want to achieve something, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, I'm thinking about all the positive that is just obviously coming on, working on the podcast, you know, and just obviously, you know, other plays that I can do and just keeping connections that's down here and just thinking about all the benefits of the future. You just like, Yeah, it just makes it easier to get up. And then once I got up, I was like, and I was in motion.
It gets easier.
It was easy. I'm like, okay, and it's like now I remember what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, and now you're going, and now you like, you know, you're going, and then obviously the reward is gonna come on the back end. You know, if you can be patient and wait on that shit for sure.
I got a text thread that I do. I just started it today actually. I added you in there. You probably didn't even see it yet because you probably on the plane. But where every morning I wake up, I text everybody in this thread. I just ask whoever want to be in it, let me know. And I added everybody who wanted. And I just added you because you got to be in there because you're my partner on it.
Right.
But I just, in the morning, I say, what are 3 things you want to accomplish today? Everybody, it's not no discussion. Nobody has to even know if you did it or not. At some point, at some point, I'm probably going to be like, hey, if you don't do it, send somebody in here $20 or $10 or $5 or $1 or something just to start making it a little more.
Right. Bringing accountability.
Like you said, you start falling off after a while.
No, I got to keep that accountability.
But right now, it's like, I know if on my list, I was like, I want to shoot this podcast today. I want to take care of this RSS feed, and I want to, you know, whatever. And I put my 3 things up early in the morning. Like I'm like 7, 8 o'clock. Like I asked everybody. Not saying everybody got to do it early. Whenever you get up, you do it.
Right.
But once I put my goals out there, I can't really ignore them or go do other little stuff that's easy to do. Like I could easily be like, oh, I need to cut my grass, so I'm gonna put this off because I gotta cut my grass. But if these are my 3 goals of the day, these are the 3 things I really need to get done. Nothing else matters till I do these 3 things.
Right.
Or if I do those other things and I don't do these 3 things, I know I didn't do what I was supposed to do. You can always do it tomorrow, but it's like I'm gonna know I dropped the ball on this today. So it's like, hey, I gotta maybe double down tomorrow or whatever. It's like
and after a while after a while, I feel like if you have some type of, you know, like respect for yourself and your goals, like you gonna start to feel that pain of fucking up or dropping the ball, because you're gonna be like, and then that's when that's your choice, where you could be like, man, it's just like, man, I don't give a fuck about these goals, like it wasn't even that important anyway. Then you're gonna start just rationalizing like why your goal was little, which you in a sense little in yourself and your value and your worth, you know, to where you just, you know, put yourself into like this small, you know, worth.
And if you tell yourself you small, what you gonna be?
You're gonna be fucking small.
You're gonna be a small motherfucker.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? You gotta walk like a king.
Bro, I'm putting you down.
I'm trying to tell people like that, like, hey, some things I done made happen in my life just cause I demand shit. Like, it could be little things. Like my phone was frozen. There was a long line at the Mac store. I walk right in that motherfucker during COVID. And they like, and I was like, man, my phone frozen, you know what I'm saying? I'm from out of town, whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm like, I need, they looking around and they like, just come in, and everybody else on the line like looking like, because from walking with a type of importance, like my shit matters more than y'all shit. And then I know some people looking at me like, and another same thing, I go back to the Apple store, I'm trying to get a computer mouse. I didn't know that they made it to where you gotta call you gotta pay for online to go pick up now or whatever. So I show up, the security guard lady will not let me like go talk to like the nigga at the Apple thing. I'm like, I can see him. I'm like, yo, I know that I got a mouse back there. And she's like, you gotta do it online, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, man, for me, just not being a person, being determined to want that motherfucker, it's something little. That's what I'm saying. It could be something little, something big.
That's who you are.
I just wanted the fucking mouse for my computer. Probably wasn't even gonna use that motherfucker that night, but I wanted that bitch that day. Cause I already drove all the way to the mall. So I go upstairs, I talk to the cop. He's like, yeah, man, it's changed everything. He's like, yeah, you can pay for it, but they're gonna give you a schedule thing. So he gave me an extra little game. So I'm like, man, I'm about to just pay for this bitch online. I'm about to go back down there and I'm about to just tell him like, man, I showed up on the wrong day. Pay for it online, go down there. I'm like, yeah, pay for it. Actually, I did have an order, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, fine, go talk to him. So I go talk to him and stuff, and he's like, really, we're not supposed to do this, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, I know y'all got a mouse. Like, nigga not buying that. So I get one, and I get up out of there. I'm leaving. I'm just cheesing like, nigga, I told you I'm leaving. But the lady was like so mad. She was like,
you pivoted.
She was so mad. She was all like, she's like, how old are you? And I'm just like, I'm 30. And then she looked like, oh, I ain't think this nigga gonna be this old. Like, I'm 32. She looked like, you know, and then like she was all like, oh, there's a such thing in life called rules. And I'm like, yeah, and I just showed you how to bend them. Like, you know, she was like, she was so mad. Like she was just hating, but it's just, I just feel like in life, like certain things, like just little moments like that, like all the way to a large scale, like you can create different things. And like Allie's like, avenues, just certain things, just by commanding what you want, like for yourself, and walking with that attitude, like the world is going to be forced to
conform to what you want. Man, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Another episode of Drunk Tours Podcast. You know, over here talking about some real deal things. Man, we want to make sure that y'all keep up with us. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you can find streaming platforms, Clubhouse. Hey, Drunk Tours Podcast, everywhere. Drunk Tours Podcast. You can follow my personal at Hoes in the Pocket on IG. Go ahead, Google.
And y'all can follow me at King of the Globe on Instagram. And like my boy Ye said, make sure y'all follow the Drunk Tours Podcast on Instagram and all social media. And appreciate y'all tapping in. Shout out to the family.
Shout out to the family, man. Y'all make sure y'all tap into the YouTube podcast. Go stream it when you're driving, wherever. Just stay tuned, man. We appreciate you. Man.
Like and subscribe.
Till next time, man. It's up, man. Like always.